Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Fearless Thinking Podcast, designed to help you navigate authentic leadership and the entrepreneurial journey. I'm your host, Michael DeVue, and these are my thoughts, lessons, and insights from my entrepreneurial journey into coaching, workshops, motivational speaking, and of course, what I picked up from interviews with inspiring leaders and entrepreneurs along the way. My mission is to help people unlock their untapped potential by using fear as a catalyst for powerful change and growth, so they can step into the greatest version of their most authentic selves. All right, let's get into some fearless thinking. Hey there, fearless thinkers. Welcome back to another episode of the Fearless Thinking Podcast. I'm your host, Michael DeVue, here on the Ascend Hub. I'll get it right there. This month, actually, we are exploring and we will continue to explore AI and its impact on industries and our economy and, of course, all of the entrepreneurial endeavors that we seek to, create in terms of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, building businesses, building content, building products and services. From here on forward, there is not a thing that will be created that isn't influenced by AI. And it's just going to be so fascinating. I'm obsessed with it. I'm fascinated by it. I use a lot of different ones where I'm testing things out a lot. I wish there was more time. I wish I could have, 2 days, 3 days a week to just dedicate to playing in that sandbox. And I would, because I think it's super fascinating to discover what I can do with AI. Not what AI does, but what I can do with AI. And that is, I think, one of the key areas, if you shift your mindset around it and you're not being fearful about its impact or what it might do, whatever, it's what you can do. It's the potential you have to grow and do and be and create and think further than you were before. And that's what it does for me. Like, I have an idea and then I brainstorm with AI and then I try to play around with it and then it takes me to the next level. And then I go, aha, I think I can do X, Y, and Z. Let's explore this pathway. And then it comes up with additional suggestions and things. And before you know it, I have gone as far as I would have gone if I had thought about this, written it down, journaled about it for 6 months, 3 to 6 months. And I did that in the span of 20 minutes. Now that does, can lead you to going down rabbit holes and things like that if you're not careful, but I'm very excited about it. So anyway, today's episode, the rise of AI generated content and its impact on marketing. Now you can't be out there and not be aware that marketing and content are being impacted by AI, have been impacted by AI since the beginning of last year easily. Excuse me. There isn't a single part of the marketing, social media, and content landscape that isn't currently being painted with a wide brush of AI. A brilliant quote: AI can generate content, but only you can create connection. I think that's important, the human connection in all of this. I think it's good that we constantly remind ourselves, you can have a supercharged boat that can do a lot of different things, but it's you driving it. If we're not in that sandbox, if we're not at the helm, if we're not at the wheel of this particular future building concept, software, whatever with AI, it's our fault if it runs amok. It's our fault if it goes off the rails. We have to be there constantly working with it, constantly ingesting it with our ideas, our thoughts, our directives, our imperatives, our ethics and our philosophies and I forgot the other word from ethics. Morals. Thank you. I know that it can't necessarily understand morals, but it can begin to grasp the preferences that we have for the way that we want things done. So I love that, I wrote this outline in this script. I did use AI, of course. I had some frameworks and some ideas about how I wanted to do it, mainly because I'm trying to get my AI certification, which sadly, I had been interrupted every single weekend dealing with my website. And I'm trying to use AI to help me get this situation with my website fixed, and get it moved and consolidated under one roof, if you will, and it's been a beast. Um, but anyway, so this says, imagine this by 2025 and imagine this by 2025. It's already 2025, and I love that it thinks that 2025 is literally out there in the future. It sounds futuristic. Think about 2025. If as old as I am, 2025 felt like, I don't know, like some future film. Like it was never gonna get here, and here we are in 2025. Over 50% of all marketing content will now be generated by AI. But here's the catch, right? Content is only as good as the connection that it creates. I'm going to reiterate that for you. Content is only as good as the connection that it creates. Today, we're going to explore how to use AI as an enhancer, not a replacement, and why authenticity is still king in the marketplace and in marketing. Um, Again, as I said before, it's you at the helm, it's you at the wheel. Content is only as good as the connection it creates. And one of the things that we've been saying is good data in, good data out. If you want good responses, if you want good content, if you want good actionable resources, development, research, and everything, you have to put good data into the AI so that you can get good results back out. This includes when you put information out into the world about your brand, your messaging, your story, your narrative, whatever that is, it better be good so that you can get good responses back from your customers and your clients. Think about that. It is on you to ensure that the brand and the message, your values, your mission, your purpose, all those things are in alignment with your authenticity and your story and your narrative. And that when it's told and it reaches the public, that it resonates with the right person at the right time so that they can get in contact with you to help them solve the problem that they need you to solve. That's good data, good information, good communication, right? That all plays a part in AI and marketing. It all plays a part in ensuring that content is only as good as the connection that it creates, right? So, Joe Polizzi, the founder of Content Marketing Institute, if you're not familiar, has a quote. It says, people come for information, but they stay for community. And if AI helps you create more content, great. That's beautiful. But do not forget that the real magic happens in how that content builds relationships or community, right? Um, People do. They come for the information, but they stay for the community. They want to get connected to the information that's going to help them solve a problem or achieve a better or scale, grow, right? Either in sales or what have you. But they stay with you. They stay with what your services are because of community and connection. You've touched them somehow. You've resonated with them in a specific way that really makes sense for them. And I think that's where we need to ensure that we're continuing to build relationships with individuals and clients and customers and the public. Um, that's an ongoing practice and that's an ongoing effort you have to make. AI can't do that for you. There's no way. So, first of all, let's look at tools, ethics, and of course, the new content landscape. Now, AI powered content tools, right, that are shaping marketing today, like, of course, ChatGPT and then Jasper AI or Claude. They streamline blog posting processes, social media captions and campaigns, and email sequences, including the content that goes into them, helping you create those at very, very quick scale and pace for your campaigns, your marketing, your brand. Right? They can even understand over your tone and your humor, your sense of the way that you speak. I mean, for an easy example, jump into chat and say, write me a social media post about my business, but do it in the style of Snoop Dogg and watch what it does. It has enough information that it can really reproduce a piece that is in his tonality and his humor, which is really incredible. Another one's Midjourney, and of course, Dolly. Those are your design AI-generated visuals, if you will, that elevate your branding and your campaigns. There's so much, there's photography, images, and things out in the world that it business models, or I should say platform models like Canva and stuff, or, oh, I just forgot the name of them. Anyway, that Adobe's, images that we used to have to purchase or buy from or download, very high scale, very, well curated pieces of, content imagery, if you will, or even video clips for our content and stuff was like sifting through sand, trying to find that perfect kernel, that perfect little piece of sand that we needed for our particular content. But today with AI, I mean, it can literally generate exactly what you're asking for and then give you several options to choose from. You can even use certain photographs and things from the general public, Google search or whatever, to plug into it and say, I want something similar to this, but I want it to do X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, Piscart's ad pilot. So now we're talking advertising, instantly generating multiple ad variations for A/B testing. There's a lot of new AI software out there that helps with ads, what helps with not only testing and A/B, but also getting it in front of different markets and stuff. I have barely begun to dip my toe in that particular pool, and I think it's gonna be amazing to figure this part out, but I really don't use advertising yet, so it's not in an area that I'm playing around with, but I will get to that point where I wanna start looking into some of that when it's time to start boosting, especially once my website is, you know, operating properly. And that's I'm moving off of WordPress over to Hostinger because Hostinger not only can Hostinger migrate all of my stuff over, it can use AI to help me improve, optimize, and scale my website. And by the way, once it's done and it's in a place, it can help me with funnels. It can help me with a lot of different things that an AI can do that. Now, I don't have the bandwidth to learn how to run WordPress and do Elementor and all the different things that are in there. I just do not have the time. And as much as I love paying someone to do it, I haven't found that to be reliable quite yet. So for me, it's the drag and drop scenario. It's the plug and play thing. It's the let me just get something over here and I go, hey, this is what I think I want today in this on this page. Can we get it to seamlessly come together? Now, I'm also creating a new website under Devu Media Holdings because now that this business has grown beyond just my motivational speaking and the 2 podcasts that I created, we're talking I've got the 2 podcasts, Fearless Road and, of course, Fearless Thinking podcast, where my marketing part of and communication part of the business. I have my motivational speaking where you can book me to get to speak at keynotes and to MC and to host. But I also have, my coaching, Authenticity Unleashed coaching, where I coach and do workshops. I also have the Ascend Hub right here, right? Where I support solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and individuals and businesses on their road to success with resources, content, and programming that align with utilizing productivity and efficiency tools, as well as brilliant pros and professionals, same thing. Uh, and coaches and mentors to help you along your way. And my, talent agency that I'm launching this spring, called M&M Talent Agency for Speakers. So I have a lot of verticals and I want them all under one roof. And what I used to have was just michaeldevujr.com, and that was my motivational speaking, my blogs, and some of my, podcast stuff. Well, now I want it all under the Boo Media Holdings. So I'm using Hostinger and its AI to help me create that and get that done. So I will share some of that with you as we go along the way. Now, Neil Patel, right, who is a digital marketing expert, said that AI speeds up content production, but without a strong brand voice, you're just adding noise to an already crowded space. Um, I like he just hit the nail on the head. It doesn't matter if you use AI and you're just spitting out content for content's sake. If it's not good, it's not relevant, and it's not on in alignment with your brand, your messaging, your purpose, and your mission, then what are you doing? Like, why are you doing it? Right? If you're just having fun and you're doing it, you're one of those individuals contributing to the noise out there, and we don't need it. We need it to be good. We need it to be reliable. We need it to be relevant. We need it to be speaking to us where we are, right? And that's what I try to do is use my AI to help streamline, to help bring the message into a way that's more concise and meaningful, to take aspects of what I teach and what I talk about and regenerate it in ways that's more meaningful or from a different perspective, right? And that way, every time that I talk about making you feel your friend, or I talk about shifting your mindset so that you can use your authentic voice for impact, I'm looking at all different ways that you, the audience, the consumer, might want that information, might want to hear that information, right? Or receive that information. That's good data out, good data in. I'm trying to make sure that I reach you where you are in a way that's meaningful to you so that you can hear the message. Now, excuse me. The human in the loop framework, they call this a human in the loop framework, and I'm one of the humans in the loop. Half the time I feel like I'm human on a spinning wheel. AI is a tool and it's not a replacement. Let's just remember this. It is a tool. And here's how marketers can ethically blend AI generated content with human storytelling. Now, human storytelling is the biggest thing now. It's not just branding and messaging. In 2024, we were all about that, getting your branding, your messaging. Now it's really about refining your story. It's really about aligning your personal narrative as a business owner in and weaving it into your messaging so that when it reaches the public, when we're talking about authenticity, you are heard. Your story's woven in there. It's legitimate, right? That's one of the things I help coach lots of executives in businesses. In fact, two of the mentees that I have in the Exponential Impact Survive and Thrive Mentor Program right now that I'm mentoring, I am working with them to help them with their messaging and their content, to help them with their story, right? Teaching them how to weave their personal story and journey into their brand so that when it reaches the public, it's aligned with who they are so that when they speak about it, it's natural. So that when they talk about it, it's genuine. I think that's important and then it's valuable. Now, one is verify brand voice alignment. Just what I was talking about, right? Ensuring that the output sounds like you and not a machine. This starts at the beginning with the ingredients you put into that pie, into that bread. If you don't put the right ingredients in, you're not going to get the right outcome. It's plain and simple. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but gosh, like you got to know what your story is because you have to be able to stick to it. And the best one you can stick to is your own personal truth. And that's easy. It may not be easy for you to talk about because a lot of people get uncomfortable speaking about their own truth. But that's important that you know what it is and that it's woven in there naturally. So that when you get out there and you're telling everybody about who you are, what your brand is, what your services and products are, your voice is aligned and it sounds like you and not a machine. Now, add personal anecdotes. This is what I talked about, like storytelling. AI lacks the experience, but you don't. AI lacks the narrative. You don't. It's your narrative. It's your stories. It's your anecdotal pieces of information and context that you can provide that lend legitimacy and relevance to the story, as well as authenticity to your voice and your brand message. And third is insert community specific references. Speak to your audience, not at your audience. Um, you know your market. Like if you're a local, especially if you're a brick and mortar, you know your community. And if you don't have a brick and mortar, but you want to find your community, it's good to do some research. Now I know that GPT just launched Mini 3.0 and deep research. Um, that I'm sure it's in response to DeepSeek R1. You can use either one of those. Obviously, I like to use Perplexity because then I don't end up with the risks inherent with DeepSeek. But you can ask it to do research on the marketplace based on your target market segmentation and your avatars to understand the community, right? Get the information, the data that helps you and analyze that. Then take that information, reach out to those individuals with a poll or a survey or whatever, and touch base with them in a way that's meaningful so that you can get the data you need back so that when you're telling your brand story and your products and services, you're telling it in a way that is meaningful and relevant to the community that you're speaking to, right? A case study, for instance, Hook Agency's viral AI campaign. Hook Agency used Midjourney to create a viral real estate ad. And a secret here was that they added human storytelling elements in the captions, turning a simple AI generated image into a conversation starter. And this boosted their engagement by 300%. So this is getting creative with AI. This is knowing you've got the good ingredients and the things at the forefront, asking it to create something around those ingredients, then taking those ingredients and then stirring them up and turning them into meaningful storytelling while asking AI to figure out ways to boost the engagement with the final product, right? You did the work, you putting it in there, it's aligned with your brand and your message and your authenticity. But then you're saying, hey, if we get this out there, how can we boost our engagement around this particular post? And AI can help with many different suggestions on ways you can do that, other than, of course, paying for ads. Now the listener challenge. Um, I want you guys to use an AI tool today, but I want you to edit the output with a personal story before you post it. So I want you to find some way to weave in a personal story that you have or an experience that you have into the post that's meaningful, right? Try a couple different things. Now, the authenticity formula, how to stand out in an AI era. Now, we talked a little bit about that earlier about aligning your story and your narrative and your brand. But one of these things called like the 3T content protocol, 3T content protocol, how to make your content your content, how to make AI content your content. One is to train AI on your best performing content. Fine tuning AI with your unique tone and style using your past high engagement posts is one of the best ways you can help teach it. Now, I've taken mine and I've ingested it with my podcast transcripts, reports, journal writing, um, all the different things that I've done and meeting notes and things like that where I've spoken a lot in podcasts because I wanted to constantly understand my tone and my voice. So I'm always ingesting more of my stuff into that specific thread, channel, or space so that it understands what I want when I say I'm looking for a social media post on X, Y, and Z. It knows that it's about my motivational speaking of making feel your friend in my tone and in my voice. Then, if I've got a particular post that did really well, right, then I'd go take that post, put it back in, and say, hey, this got 1,387 views this week. Um, this was pretty good. Let's take a look at why, right? Two is tweaking your outputs with emotional triggers. Adding personality, emotion, and depth. AI cannot replicate this, right? This is taking your output, your social media post or whatever, and adding a little piece of your own sense of humor, a little emotional trigger or moment, something in there that you put that's your personal emotion on it, put your little spin on it that AI really can't do. Now, it might take some practice to figure out what those kind of things are, but the more you do it, the more you engage with your own content in that way, the better it's going to be. Three is test across three audience segments, right? Refine and personalize your messaging for different customer personas. This is what I was talking about earlier about using AI to examine your target market and your clients and customers. I think if you can figure out a way to break that up into three different audience segments by refining the message that's targeted towards that specific segment and then sending that out and testing and seeing what kind of response you get back, I think that's super helpful because obviously it'll narrow down the best performing posts that you have, but it also will give you feedback on your audience. Rand Fishkin of Spark Toro, if you know him, said that AI doesn't replace creativity, it reveals who is actually creative. If you're just copy pasting AI content, you're doing it wrong. Um, I think that's really cool. It doesn't replace creativity, it reveals who's actually creative. I think it ramps us up. It puts us on I don't wanna say it speeds us up specifically, while it does provide, greater productivity and efficiency so we can go faster. We can get, or I should say, we can get our results quicker. Um, it doesn't necessarily speed us up as creatives. It just allows us to take an idea quicker to activation, and execution, so that we can then begin the tweaking process, so that we can then go back and look at what we've created and say, "Oh, you know what? You could do X, Y, and Z." It's all those inputs that I have personally from a creative standpoint that it gets and it does, and then I tweak it. It gets it, it does, and I go, "Ah, but we wanna move in this direction. That's not quite right because this is how I talk. This is my voice. This is my message. This was my experience. I wanna make sure that that's woven in there clearly, right?" In fact, I was recently trying to redo my moniker, my tagline, and my, the things under my name, and one of the things I was told for a couple of webinars or roundtables that I've attended was that putting coach or consultant in your name, it's overblown, overdone, and they're saying you gotta find a new way to create and talk about who you are and what you do. And I've been playing around with it, like fearless mindset alchemist, narrative, brand narrative storyteller, or architect. I know these are like word soup, but I'm still playing with it to find something that feels right for me, but also explains what I do, um, and is unique, right? As opposed to just coach. I just think people, it's overdone and they look at it and they blow past it because unless you're a coach with, 23 certifications behind your name, you could get overlooked or you could get dismissed pretty quickly simply because people want to filter out. But there's thousands and thousands of them. So the only way you can do it, I suppose, is by certification. So here's an anxiety hack, by the way, the content soul check for publishing, right? Content soul. Does your content have a soul? Before you hit publish on your content, your AI generated content and the stuff that you've done, now ask yourself 3 questions. 1, does this content reflect my authentic voice? 2, would I be proud to have this represent my brand? And 3, does it contribute value beyond what AI alone could generate? I think that's an important one, number 3. Does it contribute value beyond what AI alone could generate? Meaning it took what I created, what my thoughts were, my content was, whatever, and it built on it. It created additional value beyond what I did, but also not just AI. I think that's important. So, does the content reflect my authentic voice? Would I be proud to have this represent my brand? And does it contribute value beyond what AI could generate? Here's an example of AI generated LinkedIn post recently that was edited for authenticity. Instead of a robotic AI generated post, try this engagement driven prompt, if you will. ChatGPT, write a 300-word LinkedIn post about insert topic here using, and here are the 3 bullets. One personal story from your niche or niche. 2, 3 actionable tips to take. And finally, 1 closing question for engagement. See what that produces for you. And by the way, make sure you've ingested enough of your information about your business model and your voice and your tone to ensure that what it produces for you meets with an alignment with your particular voice, and see what it comes up with and then begin to tweak it. So test this out on your LinkedIn profile today or tonight, whatever, and then edit it with your personality before you post. I'd love to hear from you about like how that went, and let me know what the response was, and was it good? Did it work? Um, AI can generate content, but only you can create connection. That's our final thought for today, especially when AI is impacting the marketplace, content and marketing. Uh, Anne author Anne Handley said everybody writes, right? Your audience doesn't want more content. They want better content. And that starts with you. They don't just want more, they want more of you, what you have to say, the way that you have to say it. It's funny because when I first started on this journey about making Fair Your Friend, and I wanted to move into the public speaking sector, I had a couple people say, well, what makes you think people want to hear your message? And this is an interesting challenge to be thrown down in front of you. And of course, growing up in the South, I said, well, throw a rock and tell me you can't hit a church with a different priest talking about God, right? Everywhere you go, someone wants to hear a priest talk about God at church. Why? Why don't they just have one standard thing that they can present? Why don't they just have one standard presentation or one person to talk about God? Because everyone hears differently. And like I always say, there are no new words, there are only new ears to hear. And they need to hear your message the way that you say it. You can find your tribe, you can find your audience. And I think that's really the key about what this does for us when we look at using AI to help us reach our audience better and ensure that once we do, what we say and how we say it is meaningful and relevant to them, right? So, homework for this week. Nobody likes that word. Experiment with one AI tool, right, for content creation this week. Edit the output using the 3T content protocol of train, tweak, and test, right? Train, tweak, test. Then develop your AI and human creativity workflow by applying it to your marketing. I want to see what that does for you as well. And then next week's episode, AI enhanced customer experiences in 2025. So thank you for listening today. Thank you for participating. Thank you for hanging in there with me here at the Ascend Hub Fearless Thinking podcast as we explore more of AI and its impact on our economy, our industries, and our lives and our businesses, right? So next week, like I said, we're talking about AI enhanced customer experiences in 2025. It's getting personal, y'all, and it's going everywhere. It's everywhere. In fact, I don't think you can pick up a phone or text or jump on a website to do business, book a plane trip, hotel, or anything like that that isn't already managed by your experience, by the way, isn't already managed by an AI chatbot of some type or some form. Okay, have a wonderful week. Be good to each other, and bye. Be AI. See ya.
This has been a Fearless Fraud Network production, brought to you by Kazoo Media Holdings, LLC.